Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and what we're going to do today is talk about Zillow's new housing market report. And the thing is, guys, is they are super duper optimistic because now they're showing new records as far as home prices. But remember one thing about Zillow, they were pretty much wrong for the last year and a half, and they were one of the only companies to lose hundreds of millions of dollars during 2021 as a result of their overly aggressive Zestimate. So understand when I bring you into this report that the way they're calculating value is through their Zestimate. And they're a little bit bullish. Personally, I like to use Case-Shiller. Unfortunately, it's lagging, so I use week over week median sales data because usually when a property is sold, that will lead to the value of another property. But really the best way is to do an appraisal that's a comparable approach appraisal where you take a subject property and 3 other sold homes and you compare the characteristics to each other after a dollar value is assigned to each of those characteristics. In other words, an appraisal is a really good way to get value, but we'll use this data today. The craziest thing about Zillow, there's still a tremendous amount of people that only get their housing market data from Zillow. Can you imagine that, you guys? So if you're one of those people, welcome to my channel. And if you can, help me grow my channel by liking this video, subscribing if you haven't already, shooting a comment below. But either way, you guys, I really hope you enjoy this report. Now, the name of this month's Zillow housing market report is Home Values Hit New Record High as Homeowners Sit Tight. June 2023 Market Report. Home buyers shrugged off high mortgage rates, but homeowners still wouldn't come to the table as new listings looked more like frigid February than typical June. So there's a new hypothesis going around that's basically saying when we go back down to 5% interest rates, that there's going to be more inventory than demand. And I think that as long as we're in quantitative tightening for long enough, that's possible, but I think right now, if we go to 5%, you guys, dead. We're dead in the water. The game is over. The typical U.S. home value climbed 1.4% from May to June, continuing a 4-month streak of hot home value growth driven by several months of scarce new listings. Now, the reason why I highlighted 4-month streak is because we're coming off a 7-month streak of decline that broke seasonality, you guys. And again, only 4 months. So for the people that are bullish, I'm trying to explain to them like, okay, well, first of all, we're still inverted. We're still doing quantitative tightening, but it's only been 4 months. The same thing happened in 2006. In 2006, we had 3 months of decline followed by 7 months of value increase. And then after that, 2 years of decline. Same thing in 2006. Not hard to see that. Continuing a 4-month streak of hot home value growth driven by several months of scarce new listings, the nation's typical home value now sits at an all-time high of $350,213, just above the previous peak of $348,225 reached in July 2022. The second quarter is traditionally the hottest time of year for the for-sale housing market, and that rule proved true in 2023. Now, the reason I highlighted that is understand we're about to leave the hot home buying months. We are now headed to fall and winter months of the housing market, which I'm saying the lack of demand during that time is going to cripple the housing market that's already being propped up on incredible buying incentives. This is Zillow's home value index chart. You guys can actually come back here and drop down this right here and pick hopefully one of your metro areas. Hopefully they cover it. But I'm pulling up Austin because I want to show you, basically I want to show you guys Austin. You can clearly see right here, you guys on the left side, how Austin peaked in 2022, massive price decline, and look at only a slight rebound. And that's also, you can see that here month over month. See the below zeros are negative growth, but I wanted to show you, here's the spring and summer home buying season in Austin. So it did go up, but it wasn't enough to sustain it. You guys, Austin is in store for a second round of price decline, and that's happening right now. You guys can go here yourself and take a look. Let's look at Cape Coral and see what's going on there. So Cape Coral has rebounded. It's not where it was, the peak of the last 2 years, but this is the rebound. Again, you guys, this is coming to an end. What I'm saying, you guys, is this is not sustainable for much longer. I think we can pretty much all agree that the unaffordability is huge. This goes on. All major U.S. markets saw home values rise in June, but more than half remain below year-ago levels. And that's another red flag that I'm trying to really point out here. That's not seasonal. Okay, that's far from seasonal. Year over year price decline is abnormal. People don't want to invest in houses that lose money. People want to buy houses that appreciate and gain money. So again, with all of this reckless optimism, I just want to remind everyone that half of the metro areas are still down year over year, which means the people that purchase those homes are upside down in their houses, which is why we probably see so many negative buyer remorse surveys. Affordable metro areas had some of the biggest monthly home value gains in June, led by Chicago at 2.1% increase from May. That's huge. And then Buffalo at 2.1, shockingly New Orleans, and Hartford at 2.1, Detroit at 2%. Now, I want to point out that both Buffalo and New Orleans were one of the first metro areas last year to hit the year over year decline list. So more than likely, again, once that bottom falls out, once we're through spring and summer, it's probably going to be right back on that year over year decline list. Time will tell shortly. Home values grew on a monthly basis in all of the 50 largest metro areas, repeating May's clean sweep. The slowest monthly growth was in Austin at 0.4, Jacksonville 0.8, Memphis 0.8, San Antonio 0.8, Birmingham at 0.8 as well. Zillow's very bullish. Redfin, Black Knight, I believe also CoreLogic all show decline in Austin. So I believe Zillow is one of the only companies that's showing an increase in value in Austin. Prices keep rising amid tight inventory in pricey West Coast markets that had big price drops in late 2022. For the third month in a row, tech hubs San Jose and Seattle saw monthly price gains above the national average, while San Francisco 1% fell a step behind the national pace this month. Incredible rebound in Northern California. Home values are down from year-ago levels in just over half, 27 of the 50 largest metro areas, most significantly in Austin at negative 13 year over year, San Francisco negative 7.7, Phoenix negative 7.2, Las Vegas negative 7%, Sacktown negative 5.8, but we still have increases in Richmond, number one Richmond at 5.3, Miami number two now at 5.3, Milwaukee has always been up there at 4.3, Oklahoma 4.2, and Cincinnati at 5.2. We can see a nice picture of the home values from a year over year aspect from this chart. So Richmond is leading the metro areas, followed by Miami, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City. So this all looks good, but the reality is when we scroll down here, we could see all of the cities that are suffering and look at Dallas. Dallas, I think, is going to come up there. I think that it's possible that Dallas takes that number one spot, or even Phoenix. So as far as like an underdog coming to that number one spot, I got my money on either Phoenix or Dallas taking over Austin's spot at the number one declining metro area in our nation. The lack of new listings only intensified this June, which is false, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute. There were 28% fewer new listings than last June. So let's talk about that. So they're saying 28% fewer new listings, but not total inventory. So I just want to make that point. They're saying new listings, that reads that we're down 28%. However, when we go to the housing inventory active listing counts in the United States, we can see that we're up year over year from both 2022 and 2021. We have 613,000 active listings. You can see June of 2022, we had less listings at 573,000. And when we go to June of 2021, we had way less active listings at 491,000 active units. So despite what they're saying, inventory is going up, which again makes it even crazier how inflation has ran away in the face of inventory going up, not down. Inventory is going up. It is worth pausing to contemplate just how low the trend ran in June, which is normally among the 2 to 3 busiest months of the year for new listings. This month, only 376,000 new listings came to the market, which is more comparable to the shoulders to the winter market. Like February had about 341,000, October 384. Then to the average new listings in June, 505,000 in Zillow's listing data, which extends back to 2018. So we're off about 140,000 units. And again, to me, this is all spelling we have a buying problem that is causing our inventory to grow at a slower rate. The dearth of new listings has dodged the housing market for almost a year now, and the chief suspect remains unchanged. changed. Today's higher mortgage rates, or rather, you guys, unaffordability. It would be costly for homeowners, most of whom who have a mortgage significantly below today's rates and intend to turn around and borrow for their next home to purchase. And again, we go back to the lock-in effect. Another potential culprit with more optimistic implications could be homeowners' fear of selling for less than their peak potential sales price. On a national basis, home values declined 4% from their peak in mid-2022 until January and fell much more in many parts of the country before things turned around almost everywhere in the new year. That created a strange dual reality for the housing market this spring. Negative year-over-year price reports in many markets, coupled with surprisingly competitive shopping conditions that were spending prices back up on a monthly basis. It could be that some homeowners have been waiting until prices set new highs before opting to cash into their chips by selling. Our data indicates that home values crossed their threshold in June on a national basis, but have not yet gotten back to their old heights in even half of the 50 largest metro areas. Active inventory set a new low watermark for June. And you guys, that's false, okay? They're not talking about new inventory. They're talking about active inventory. This is so disgusting to me because, again, I just showed you guys Fed economic data. We are up in our inventory, and yet, listen to this. They're saying we're down. Total active inventory in June was down 10.4% from last year. Do you guys see the narratives here? Again, let's go back here. They're saying down 10.4% from a year ago. Let's look again, June. Okay, they're comparing June, 613 active units. Let's look at June 2022, 573 active units. What are they talking about? Isn't that super frustrating to you guys? Some buyers forged ahead in spite of high interest rates and low inventory. I guess when all is said and done, and what that article is not telling us is it's not saying that this is absolutely not sustainable from an affordability aspect. People aren't going to be able to continue to pay these prices for much longer. From the very beginning, I have said that the number one strongest catalyst will be unaffordability in the housing market. Now, I'm also watching other things as far as inventory and prices and things like that. But unaffordability has broken fundamentals and has created a false sense of sustainability. And if you guys want to know where I think the crash is going to be the worst, we need to look at the current payment to income ratio map. Now, this is from Black Knight. I believe the places with the highest payment to income ratio are going to show the largest price declines. Now, a couple of areas that bucked that through 2022 has been Florida and some of the places out on the East Coast. But again, this is not sustainable. And part of the reason why we saw so much price decline on the West Coast is look at the current payment to income ratios. For example, Seattle, 44% of a household's income goes to just paying the principal and interest of the mortgage. This does not count utilities, groceries. It does not count property taxes, and it does not count property insurance. And you guys, Florida is unraveling right now, right before our eyes, and no one's going to be able to change my mind on that. Now, the northeast area, probably one of the reasons why it's been so resilient is it's one of the most affordable areas to live in the entire country. In conclusion, affordability is key. Part of the ways to make things more affordable, and we're not talking about price and affordability are different. Part of the things that you guys can do and I can do to make things more affordable is, number one, get out of consumer debt. We should not be looking at houses if we have consumer debt, we're behind on consumer debt, or it's difficult for us to pay our consumer debt. Now, the other thing is manage how you spend your money. I'm going to tell you guys right now, probably 95% of the people that are watching this video right now can rebudget and probably save hundreds of dollars if they wanted to. So rebudget, that's going to help with the inflation, and then also save as much money as possible. I've taken the down payment for my home and I've bought 1 month T-bills through Treasury Direct, and I'm getting a couple $100s a month that helps me offset the inflation. But one thing I will not do is I will not be convinced and bullied into purchasing the biggest financial transaction of my life. And I think these narratives out there, you guys, are absolutely pathetic. And on behalf of the industry, I want to tell you, I'm sorry. Now, other than that, you guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, you know I wish you luck and I hope you win.